if you're, for those people who are listening here, I mean, we can go through this list really quickly. And
Okay.
chances are you can probably check off one or two as we go through it. So I'm just going to go through it really quickly. The first, number one, biggest reason why people lose their money is because they fail to do their own research.
Okay.
Quickly, the first, number one, biggest reason why people lose their money is because they fail to do their own research.
Okay.
The second most common reason is because they failed to properly assess and manage risk. Manage risk meaning when they're owning it now, what do you do to make sure you don't lose it all? Assess meaning you're judging it before you get into it. The third most common, so it's less common, but it
Mm.
is common, is driven by emotion or flawed thinking. These are all our behavioral and mind biases and mistakes that we make. And number four is just simply misplaced trust. They
Mm.
just gave their money to the wrong person. In fact, it's shocking. A 75-year-old friend of mine said, I've heard about this thing called blockchain on the internet, and some guy's talking about it, and, can you help me put my money in it? And I thought, you're 75. No, I can't help you do that. He misplaced trust. He is an expert, me, as a friend. But
Yeah.
instead, he got seduced and he misplaced trust. Number five, failed to monitor their investment. How many
Mhm.
people listening to this, they gave their friend some money to set up a restaurant and then they didn't follow up on a consistent basis without follow up. And the final,
Mhm.
sixth one is really a separate one. It's a
Okay.
separate category because I just couldn't figure out how to do it, how to put this in the list. And so I decided to put it as its own, and that is invested in a startup company. Ladies
Okay.
and gentlemen, a startup company is
Mhm.
the highest risk thing that you can do, and many of my guests have lost it all doing that. And that's
Wow.
the
Okay, okay, that's amazing, there, Andrew. And you obviously are a research expert, and your number one there was about research. Now, the results, at least that I have found with people, is that they do nothing at the end of the research, primarily because I think research is a skill, obviously, and I think it's your number 5 or 4 about
mm,
trust.
yep.
What is the trusted research? So, and I'll give you this text came into me just half an
Mm,
hour ago, about a friend, a longtime friend, Robert actually is his name, and
mm,
we've been chatting about investment for over 10 years. So sent me a couple messages some time ago to follow these YouTubers to kill the stock market. Okay, and I
mm,
said, well, the people that I follow and I listen to, and a couple of days ago I had another interview with another investment expert, and they talk about investing in portfolios. And this is exactly what Robert said to me. He said, Shane, that's average thinking, which could never beat the market. I strongly disagree. Okay. And I know Robert
mm.
researches a lot. So, what would you say to Robert? Like, how do you go about doing that research? How do we build those research skills?
So if Robert came to me and said, I want to be the fastest runner in the 100 meters in the world, I want to win the Olympics, what would you say?
Mhm.
You would say, well, you haven't really run and you haven't really practiced and you haven't done the work in order to get even to win your country or your city
Yes.
or your age group.
Yeah.
And why would investing be any different? It isn't any different. It
Hmm.
requires work. Now you can try to take the shortcut, just like many people do about nutrition. That my
Hmm.
mother lives with me, and she came to live with me when she was 78 when my father passed away. And I decided to try to figure out if we could get off of all of the medications and do with nutrition what we were doing with medication. But that took a lot of work. It took research. I had to read a lot of books. I had to go through it. And you also see why people don't do it.
Yeah.
So the answer to that is simply there. I you know, it's too aggressive to say that's average thinking.
Okay.
But also, I just want to step back in one little